The council room was silent after Anakin left, tension hanging heavy in the emptiness he left behind. Being asked to spy on Chancellor Palpatine had shaken something deep inside him, but unlike the original timeline, he didn't let that wound fester into resentment. Instead, he went directly to Padmé's apartment, hoping her presence would steady him. She placed a hand on his cheek the way she always had, gently, without judgment. He admitted the council's request, admitted his confusion, and she did not try to hide her own fear. She simply said, "Then follow your conscience, not anyone's orders." Those words, spoken softly, were enough to steady the storm inside him. She did not push him toward the Jedi or toward Palpatine. She pushed him back toward himself. That night, Anakin reached out through the Force in a way he had not done since childhood. He sought clarity, not power. The dreams of Padmé dying still came, but instead of letting terror swallow him, he forced himself to look deeper. The panic that always clouded those visions softened, and he became aware of something new. The future he saw was not fixed. Her death felt like a possibility, not an inevitability. The next day, Anakin went to the Jedi Temple archives. He did not tell anyone, not even Obi-Wan. He studied reports of similar Force visions across history, reading about Jedi and even some dark side seers who had misinterpreted dreams of the future. The records were clear. Fear corrupted prophecy. Attachment twisted it further. He began to realize that his desperation to save Padmé was distorting everything he saw. When Palpatine invited him to the opera, Anakin already had doubts planted, not by others, but by himself. Palpatine's story of Darth Plagueis felt less enticing, and more like a deliberate attempt to manipulate a wound Anakin had only just begun to understand. And when he suggested the power to stop death, Anakin sensed the lie. Not the words themselves. Sith often bent truth with skill, but the intention beneath them. Anakin finally sensed darkness radiating from the man he had trusted for so long. When he later discovered Palpatine's identity as the Sith Lord, he did not hesitate as long, did not sink into a swirl of confusion. The years of mentorship still made him hesitate for a heartbeat, but that hesitation broke the moment he remembered Padmé's hands trembling as she touched her stomach. He wouldn't save her by losing himself. He wouldn't protect her by destroying everything she believed in. He left Palpatine's office with a shocked yet purposeful calm and went straight to Mace Windu. The other master sensed the truth in his words immediately. Instead of insisting he stay behind, Windu paused. Anakin was not the unstable, frightened young man of the original timeline. His voice was steady. His mind was clear. Windu allowed him to come. The four Jedi stormed Palpatine's office together. What followed resembled the duel fans knew, Palpatine killing Agen Kolar, Kit Fisto, and Saesee Tiin in moments. But this time, Anakin joined the fight before Windu was overwhelmed. The two of them together forced Palpatine back. Anakin's fighting style, unpredictable and brutally fast, countered Palpatine's precision. Windu's mastery of Vapad channeled the Sith Lord's malice against him. Palpatine hurled lightning at Windu, but Anakin intercepted part of it with his saber, pushing forward. He yelled for Windu to avoid killing him, insisting the Jedi needed him alive for a trial, for proof. Windu grudgingly agreed. When Palpatine attempted his feigned weakness routine, Anakin already anticipated the manipulation. He stepped between them, blocking Windu from the emotional trap. Palpatine realized he had lost the moment Anakin met his eyes without fear. He tried to flee. Anakin disabled him with a precise strike to the hand, not enough to kill, not enough to disfigure, but enough to end the threat. Palpatine was arrested, restrained, and placed under immediate Jedi guard. The Senate would explode in chaos once the truth emerged, but the Jedi finally had control of the situation. That night, Anakin returned to Padmé and told her everything. She cried, not from fear, but from relief. The darkness she had sensed growing in him had been like a shadow over their future. Now it was gone. When he placed his hand on her stomach, the The Force responded with a warmth he had never felt before, a bond not twisted by fear but strengthened by love and clarity. Obi-Wan arrived shortly after, eyes full of worry. He expected Anakin to be broken, angry, exhausted, but instead found him calm. They spoke honestly in a way they hadn't in years. Obi-Wan apologized for the Council's handling of him. Anakin apologized for his secrecy. That night restored a bond that had been fraying since the Clone Wars began. The next days were chaos. Palpatine's influence over the Senate was made public. Records of his manipulation were found in encrypted archives. The war didn't end instantly, but the CIS leaders, already confused by Grievous's death, lost their last strategist. Dooku's death had already created instability, and with the Sith conspiracy exposed, many systems turned against the Separatist cause. Without Palpatine directing the war from both sides, the conflict collapsed rapidly. The inhibitor chips never activated. Order 66 was never given. The clones remained loyal, though shaken by what might have happened. The Jedi investigated the chip technology and uncovered the full scope of Kaminoan deception. The Republic began immediate reforms. Anakin returned to the Temple openly, not as a traitor or an outsider, but as a Jedi Knight whose loyalty had saved the Order. The Council did not grant him the rank of Master immediately, not out of disrespect, but due to tradition and process. Anakin accepted that. In truth, he didn't need the title anymore. He had finally found inner peace without it. Months later, after the war formally ended, Padmé gave birth to healthy twins, Luke and Leia. They were born into a galaxy no longer warped by Sith control, into a future not shaped by fear. Anakin held them both, feeling the warmth of life through the Force with a clarity he had never known. He never stopped loving Padmé. He never stopped serving the Jedi, and he never again feared the future. His visions of Padmé's death faded completely, revealing themselves as warnings, not fate. Years later, historians would say that Anakin Skywalker saved the Republic by choosing trust over fear, clarity over desperation, and compassion over power. They would say the Chosen One fulfilled the prophecy not through destruction, but through balance, by stopping the Sith without becoming one. He never turned. He never fell. And because of that single choice, to trust the Force instead of his fear, the galaxy became something it had never been before: free.